Now, our today's guest can make you laugh while making you think. From TikTok to the pulpit of humor, Romar Chuca, also known as the Catholic comedian, is now joining us live here in the studio. Good morning, Romar, and thank you for being here with us this Holy Wednesday here on Morning Matters.
Good morning to the millions of people who are watching right now from heaven and earth.
From heaven and earth. Oy, gusto ko yun, Millions. Speaking of millions, I mean, you have millions of views on social media engagement, and that's because of your persona on social media, which is the Catholic comedian. And in order to get to know you better, Romar, tell us about your background. Paano mo ba nasimulan itong Catholic comedian?
Well, ang background natin ay LED screen, pero paano ko nasimulan yan ay, sa pamamagitan talaga ng TikTok. No? It was because of the pandemic. I was taking up my MBA degree, and then we had a thesis time to write our thesis.
Your MBA was about business?
Yeah, it was about business. So, very business-oriented din ako. Pero, I love religion and things like that. Pero, kapag stressed ako, tumutugtog ako ng piano. Because tumutugtog ako ng piano sa simbahan ever since 2008. Okay. So, dahil stressed ako, I was playing the piano, and then na-realize ko na pwede ko rin naman pala i-record yung sarili ko. Na-discover ko yung duet feature sa TikTok.
Right.
Na may napakahabang intro ng Anima Christi. Yun yung, kung alam ng mga tao, yun yung Soul of Christ, Sanctify Me. There's a very long intro for that, and sometimes the choirs don't know when to sing,
when to start
singing. No, so that's my first ever video, and then suddenly I think I hit a pain point of people during the pandemic, wherein people missed going inside the church,
right.
serving,
physically present.
Yes, so dun, I think yun yung dun nagswak yung audience appeal during that time. And I was really enjoying it kasi here I was trying to also remember the fun things of serving in the church. Minsan may magagalit sa yung pare, minsan may pagsasabihan ka ng choir conductor mo dahil ako pianista, or magkakamali ka ng tinugtog and things like that. So these things became very relatable to people because I think I showed them a more human side of the church, which is sometimes it's more people think that being in church is most of the time serious. And sometimes we're called to be that, but another face of the church is to be filled with joy and to be filled with laughter. Yun yung doon ko na-discover. Pero kung gusto mo talagang ikwento, kailangan natin ng 5 oras para pag-usapan to.
Pwede naman, podcast kayo ni Gretchen. Actually, Romar here is good friends with Gretchen,
yes.
Right? You met 2022.
2022.
And
actually, she did feature of the place where I used to work with dun sa Father Leone Mission Foundation Incorporated, wherein nagpapaaral kami ng mga indigenous people. So shout out sa lahat ng mga nanonood mula sa Bukidnon, sa mga Sumilaw farmers, shout out na nanonood ngayon dahil may Signal TV din daw doon.
Wow, okay.
So yun. Anyway, so yung doon kami nagkakilala when she visited sa Bukidnon, and then nagka-jive kami because we know Gretchen, she's a person, a very woman in action, and then may advocacy. And then I started talking about the advocacy of the Jesuits, yung Society of Jesus, those people who the priests who run Ateneo na. Isa sa advocacies nila is magpaaral ng mga 100 na mga lumad scholars, mga indigenous IP scholars. And doon ko na ikwento yung mga bagay na ginagawa ko, which I was trying to set up a cafe para matuto yung mga scholars din kung paano mag-run ng isang business and things like that. So, dun kami nagka-connect. And then, eventually, pag pumunta ako ng Manila, nakikita kami and yun yung friendship din namin.
Yes. What I find interesting here is when you say na hindi kailangan maging boring ang pagiging banal. So before, when you were conceptualizing this being the Catholic comedian, do you think you were really filling a gap in how like the church connects with the younger generation, Gen Z, millennials, and that's what you were filling by creating content that is engaging and faith-based at the same time?
Siguro makakwento ko siya dyan sa isang ginawa ko recently. No? We know that the church has the Catechism of the Catholic Church. Diba? Parang if you read that, it's feeling mo makakatulog ka minsan pag mabasa mo yung ibang mga bahagi nun. But it's important for the faith. But I realized that I know how the Gen Z speak with their no cap, with their yung mga...
Pero hindi ka Gen Z.
Hindi ako Gen Z. Pero
Millennial.
Millennial,
Okay.
millennial, no? So I know how Gen Z speak with their language, and then I decided to write an entire catechesis and then just post it na ako yung nagsasalita. And then I think nasa 20,000 or 30,000 views yun. I think yung sa pagsagot ng tanong mo, masasagot ko yun sa pamamagitan ng isang business concept sa marketing, yung blue ocean strategy, wherein minsan pag iniisip natin comedians, 'di ba? Stand-up comedies, which is a very good thing. I have stand-up comedian friends. They invited me to their podcast before. But there are also Catholic content creators na nagbibigay ng reflection, napakaseryoso. I think what I did was blur the lines, no? Between the two.
It doesn't have to be boring. It can be fun and engaging.
Na hindi lang siya seryoso, no?
Yeah.
Na may paraan pala to engage with the youth and maybe the older generation, no, of today. What it's like to be a Catholic na hindi lang kailangan pala puro dasal, which is important. Hindi lang pala kailangan puro pagpunta sa simbahan, which again is very, very important. But also your life beyond the church is also important. Your very secular lives, yun yung sinasabi ko rin. So, part of the secular life is humor, di ba? And I think yun yung medyo nakuha nating kiliti sa mga tao mula sa ginagawa nating content.
Actually, Romar, I found out that you've been also teaching Christian life education since 2016, right?
I taught from 2016 to 2020 sa Ateneo High School, no? And then after my MBA, I also taught market research at marketing na doon sa Bukidnon naman for an entire year. Pero for me, no, I think what's happening right now with the ministry, I call this also a ministry that I'm doing, is that also I'm blurring the line between the classroom and the real world, 'di ba? So hindi ang pagiging teacher ko, no? Kasi pinagmamalaki ko yan eh. Sinasabi ko I'm Mr. Romar Chuca, LPT, MBA, LTO. Licensed
you really earned
professional driver, no?
Ay, hindi.
Yun. Hindi, pero totoo yun. Licensed non-professional driver.
Okay.
Yeah, anyway, so sabi ko, I think nakakaturo din to eh. Itong voice na meron ako, may mga nakikinig at nakikinig kahit papano eh sa mga ginagawa kong kalokohan online.
Well, I wouldn't say it's kalokohan,
Religious
personally.
kalokohan with meat.
Because when I watched your content on TikTok, no, parang you're right. It makes it more relatable to the younger generation. I guess not even younger generation, even any generation nga, because it speaks in a more organic, raw way that can make it very relatable to everyone. But I'm sure, Romar, no, you've also probably encountered some criticism, maybe from conservatives. Have you received any negative criticism?
I wouldn't say na, kasi I have very conservative friends din.
Okay.
I also attend the traditional Latin Mass I attend yung mga Mass na may liturgical dancing and things like that. So, very wide ang spectrum ko sa pagdating sa mga kaibigan. Pero there are select people, whenever I speak about touchy subjects, kasi napakaraming touchy subjects. For example, there was yung LGBTQ,
Okay.
nung yung Pride Month. Nagsasabi lang naman ako, Happy Pride Month, 'di ba?
Okay.
Pero people say na it's 'di ba, against yung mga sins of the Catholic Church. Na ayoko nang because it will be a rabbit hole. We need around six more hours, no, to talk about it. Pero or for example, the content that I do, no, na pinaghahalo ko ang intro ng mga kanta ng banda, or I worked with Sponge Cola.
Okay.
So kung si Yael nanonood man, no,
Atenista din.
Atenista din, and gumawa kami ng mga kanta, abangan kasi magre-release kami ng Tell the World of His Love na medyo Sponge Cola version and Romar Chuca version. So yung mga ganon, may mga bashers eh, pero hindi talaga mapipigilan. And ako as a teacher, I say that it is also a teachable moment. Pwede akong, minsan, yun nga yung nag-viral sa akin, inaabangan ng mga friends ko, Romar, paano mo kaya gagawa ng clap back, no? Or response itong mga bashers mo? And sometimes, doon pa yung mga nag-viral.
So it doesn't discourage you?
Actually, sometimes, it does, no? It does. But after some prayers, after some, pag-isipan, ano kaya the best way to respond, it somehow becomes also a tool or an avenue for me to teach or to catechize or to share this kind of faith that I have that somehow may be different from the faith life that some of the Filipinos live. Kasi minsan ang Pilipino kung faith life, hiwalay ang
Correct.
yung buhay nila sa loob ng simbahan at pag sa labas. Pero yun nga, God's love does not just end when you exit the church. It, di ba? Go in peace. The mass for me does not end when the priest says go in peace to love and serve the Lord. Pag kinanta yung mga fine. No. It goes even here sa newsroom, even in our daily lives. So, yun.
Yeah, and I guess because you really can't please everyone, right? But as long as your intentions are pure and they're good, and that's what you're doing here. But Romar, I also wanted to get your take on performative faith. Sabi mo nga, di ba, iba kasi yung buhay din ng mga tao sa personal nila, sa faith nila, and outside world. Dun sa performative faith na tinatawag online o yung mga taong nagpo-post ng Bible verses daw pero masama daw masama ang ugali.
Actually, yun nga parang minsan double ang muka na napapakita online and siguro ang masasabi ko dyan sa may mga ganyan is try to, align yourselves more kung ano yung pinaglalaban mo sa loob ng simbahan with the kind of life that you're living. Kasi, yun nga parang, oo, nagsisimba ka pero nagnanakaw naman sa kaban ng bayan, yung may mga ganyan. Or, oo, nagsisimba ka pero pag gising mo sa umaga, hindi ka pala nagbayad pag mo ng jeep, di ba? Or ng tricycle, di ba? So, kailangan aligned pero again, I'm not a perfect person, no? Minsan nakikigamit ako ng wifi ng parish kahit di ako nagpaalam kay Father kasi binigyan sa akin ng youth. Pero, sorry Father, no? Ngayon, alam na ng buong bayan. Pero still, alam naman, eventually sinabi ko naman kay Father. Pero anyway, so that was a humorous take lang.
Yeah.
Pero, for me, no, it's really appreciating what the church can say, but also appreciating na secular life or our lives outside the church, it's not mutually exclusive. Ika nga sa statistics, 'di ba, na hindi siya hiwalay,
Right.
'di ba? It permeates, it feeds onto each other. It's a circular economy. It's a beautiful
And I think
music.
your TikToks or your content is a perfect manifestation of that, 'di ba? Kasi when you use your social media apps, usually pang mo yan pang de-stress.
Oo.
But when you encounter content like yours, it's thought-provoking, right? It makes you reflect on your faith, on your values as a Catholic. But Romar, we are in the midst of a Holy Week. We are observing this sacred time. And it's for Filipinos, it's both a religious and a cultural tradition. Diba? Meron tayong mga bisita iglesia, mga pabasa, iba-ibang mga tradisyon. So during this period, I mean, how should we be reflecting? Ikaw as a Catholic comedian, ano ba yung mga napansin mo on how we now observe Holy Week as a new generation?
I'll put it in terms of a pun, no? Sometimes we also pray for vocations, but most of the time people are praying for their vacations, 'di ba? So yun yung nangyayari ngayon Minsan nagsiswimming sila, nakakalimutan ng Diyos. So, huwag natin kalimutan ng Diyos habang nagsiswimming. Kung nasa Boracay man kayo, pumunta kayo sa pinakamalapit na parokya dyan sa Boracay. Hindi naman hiwalay ang, God also appreciates our rest. But we also have to, may matututuhan at matututuhan tayo whenever we go to church and whenever we praise and worship the Lord. It is our thanking the Lord for the life that we have, for all the blessings that we have received. So, yun nga, kapag nasa Boracay or nasa Baguio man, nagpapalamig dyan, no? Habang na-traffic kanina sa NLEX, no, ng konti. Pero yun nga, kailangan isipin pa rin, paano ko kaya maisasali si Lord dito sa sa bakasyon na meron ako. Kasi hindi natin mapagkakait nagiging bakasyon din talaga ang Pero try nyo especially sa mga Katoliko, try nyo hanapin nasaan ako tinatawag ni Lord dito sa bakasyon kong ito. Is there a church nearby that will help me pray? Perhaps kung mahirap man, edi manahimik ng kaunti. Look at the stars. Be aware of how God can sing through creation around us. Because even Pope Francis says, di ba, we care for our common home, and dun sa caring for the common home, it is being aware that God is everywhere. Finding God in all things. Yun.
Well, Romar, sabi mo nga, no, we can talk about this for 5 hours, 6 hours, but we are running out of time. So I wanted to discuss your book. Ito, Catholic Comedy Libro.
So, itong aking libro, ang Catholic Comedy Libro, no, I wrote it back in 2022 as a compilation of the reflections that I've had. And it's reminiscent no, of the jokes, joke books of the year 2000s.
Yes,
Diba? Yung mga binibili sa mga magazine
Correct,
stores.
sa mga
So, may mga
bookstore.
listahan ng mga jokes, pero may mga reflections din. And then actually, si Gretchen Ho, no? Shout out sa'yo, Gretchen Ho, because ikaw ang nagsulat ng forward kasama si Father Cali na nasa Roma.
Okay.
Yun. So, this is a collection of
What's
the
an
of
example?
jokes.
Let's,
Ano ba?
ng mga joke ba yan?
Oo, actually. Pero, anihin nyo na
Mahaba
lang.
ba?
Yung, sige, maghanap ako. For example, gumastos kaya si Jesus tuwing may 11-11 sale sa public market? Because, di ba, si Jesus
11-11,
pumunta sa public sale. No, because Jesus saves. Yun. So, mga ganong mga bagay.
Yeah.
So, this book actually was a finalist dun sa 18th Cardinal Sin Catholic Book Awards. Kaya there's the honor na the Catholic Church also, likes what I do.
Being recognized. So where can our viewers find your book, order your book?
They can order this book sa jescom.ph. No? Just look for the book, i-search nyo, mag-appear yan sa Google. Sa mga nasa Roma, you can also buy kasi pwede rin naman international.
International.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Romar, for joining us this morning.
You're welcome.
We really appreciate your insights and hopefully magkaano na kayo ni Gretchen, no? Magkatugma yung schedule nyo.
Oo, nagkakasalisi kami. Totoo yan.
All right, but thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Joining us this morning, Catholic comedian Romar Chuca.